Hi friends, welcome back to Half Bloom. I'm your host Nadia. So there's been a delay in this new episode because I was actually in the hospital bed for about a week, and there's a lot of life lessons that I've learned in the process about how these kinds of experiences help you reorganize and how you can reorganize your life without having to go through these experiences, and then just being okay with yourself again after that little pause, and how to make the most out of your pause as well. Editing Nadia here. There are a couple things that I kind of missed throughout the episode, and so I wanted to sprinkle in some questions. Have you ever had to pause your life unexpectedly, whether it was because of a good reason or because you got sick or because you just felt like it was the right thing to do? Those moments where you actually pause can help you realize certain things that you've been forgetting about and have you look back into your subconscious, into your actions, so that you can, ground yourself once again. So this episode is a little bit of a storytelling moment of me being hospitalized for this past week. And yes, it might be a little yappy, but I don't have a full recovery brain yet. So I hope you can find moments throughout the video that kind of give you a moment of reflection as well. That's what I'm here for any insight that you can get out of as possible. So unfortunately, I only have water today. I don't have a coffee for you because I am banned from coffee. I haven't had a proper cup of coffee in like a week and a half. I think this is the longest that I've gone in my adult life without coffee. So I am desperate for like a really good iced coffee right now. But unfortunately, if I want to recover as quickly as possible, I'm just gonna have to drink water and be satisfied with it. So the problem I had was basically I had very big stomach pains, and this time it was a problem with my intestines. Small and large, mostly large, I think, according to the doctors. And then it also the infection spread over to my pancreas. So I went to the ER to get like the full scan. And I got the CT scan for the first time. It felt like my entire body was like heating up, like I could feel it running through my body. But afterwards, because I was also sick and because anesthesia also makes me want to throw up afterwards, I was having a hard time dealing with the CT liquid as well. I ended up staying at the hospital for a week. So the biggest thing here is that I don't want to say, oh, I was in this much pain and I'm like now, a new person afterwards. That's not the point. The point here is that my experience of being hospitalized was the first time, at least in Korea. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that we tend to underestimate how easily our bodies will bounce back. And I think this is something, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm in my late 20s now. I'm 28 and I don't think my body recovers as quickly as it used to in the past. I thought this entire illness was going to be over in 3 to 4 days, but it ended up lasting more than that. It's more helpful to those around you to be able to say that you think it'll take 10 days, because it's better than saying, oh, I'm going to be fine in like 5 days, and then ended up actually taking like 8 days or 9 days to recover. You underestimate how good you can perform, and giving people realistic expectations, not only in terms of like getting back to work, but also in terms of like when you're working with clients or when you're working with your friends, giving people more like, I guess, conservative ranges and boundaries, I think will help in the process of all of that. That's something that I kind of thought I could be this superhuman person, but I'm really just a human that's aging. Now it's, when we are in school, if you're sick, it's just you and your own body. Like you don't go to class, no one is affected by that, unless you are working in like different clubs. Of course, you have responsibilities, but the older you get, the more responsibilities you have and the more things you have to take care of as you are sick. It's not like, sometimes I don't think it's like the amount of stuff that changes, but just like being able to recognize like, oh, this needs to happen, or what did I miss, what did I not? And that's just something that people easily forget about when we're so self-centered about being sick, which is of course natural as human beings as well. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the idea of forced breaks. I actually caught COVID 3 times. It was like 6 months apart. And so the very first time that I caught COVID, it kind of reorganized a lot of the relationships that I was building in work as well. The amount of attention or care or just interest that people give to you kind of allows you to cut relationships off in a very like subtle way that isn't too painful for you. This time around as well, it kind of allowed me to focus on myself and where my position lies within this like universe of other people. I think it does allow you to ground yourself and remember where your priorities lie and who you want to be with, who do you want to connect with, and even if they don't reach out to you, who are you going to maintain friends with? And branching off of that, it helped me to reorganize my life. So my uncle, for example, he finds stress relief in studying. He works in, I guess the major field is biochemistry, but because he is a workaholic, he actually finds pleasure in delving into AI. And so studying like different concepts and how to utilize them for like simulations and for like, you know, just questions that he has is something that he's really, really enjoying as like a 50-year-old man, which I think is really cool and something very inspiring. It's really nice to see people find something and kind of like delve deeper into it. Other people, for example, my partner also enjoys to travel and go out and about and play, as he says. Being able to play actually really gets your creative juices flowing, and a lot of people forget that play is also really, really big in terms of building new ideas, building new strengths and things like that. That's where you get like, I guess, life skills from, and something that I'm not actually fully good at yet. But when I have those moments of being able to like stick at home and not do anything, I think it kind of allows me to think a little bit more rather than always pouncing into action, which is kind of where I have geared my life towards all the time. It's like, oh, that's a cool idea, I want to do it. And in the process, whenever there's friction, it kind of, I've always been the type to like avoid that rather than try to like delve deeper and deeper, because my bias to action has always been so strong. And this time though, I didn't have any coffee with me, I didn't have my cameras with me, I wasn't able to film, and I didn't want to, you know, there was nothing really to film because I was stuck in a hospital bed and I didn't look very good. I showered like once every like 3 days, so that wasn't pleasant to see anyway. But it did allow me to realize that there are things that I want to do moving forward in terms of where do I want to keep my priorities and what do I really want from my relationships and my entrepreneurship journey. So the big transition here is for all the insiders who are still listening to this podcast on YouTube or on any other platform right now. I am actually planning to do really cool stuff online, and one of the big things that I'm preparing for now is a newsletter. I have created a page, and it's already on my link in bio on my Instagram, actually, to sign up for my newsletter. So I have a lot of ideas on thoughts, of course, bringing insight to the daily things that happen in our lives. And also I want to start bringing in like languages and, you know, of course, the other like hobbies that I have, including like anime, because I used to do translation work as well for that, to bring that into this experience and allow you to think of different things in a larger, like worldly perspective. And so that's what the newsletter is going to start off as, but eventually I'm going to be adding more projects. I'll be adding more things so that it'll, you know, stay interesting and creative. I'm excited for delving into a little bit more of my creative juices and to build something from scratch or bringing something to life. So moving on to the little like life lessons that I've had, I wanted to also talk about the little story jar. I know I haven't come back to this in like a month, but there has been a couple extra editions, and I actually don't know at all who wrote these times, so I wanted to talk through a couple of them. This guy named Shane wrote in Korean, 날씨 좋은 날 맛있는 커피 한 잔이 저의 오늘 행복이었어요. 감사합니다. And they also wrote something else. So I can't read one of the words, but it says 인생이 어느 방향으로 어떻게 얼마나 흘러가는지 모르겠어서 답답하지만 현재의 소중한 행복에 집중해 보겠습니다. 보려 합니다. So it says from Shane, this cup of coffee was my happiness for today. And on the back they wrote, you don't know what direction your life is going to flow. And so while it is extremely frustrating, I'm always trying to focus on the small happiness, like the precious happiness moments in life. And being able to provide a cup of coffee for happiness, I think is something that has been, I guess, the motto for why I've started all of this in the first place. And being able to provide a cup of happiness, to give anyone a moment or a thing for happiness, requires a lot more work, and I wish we could say it's easy to do, but it's really not. But thank you for the little mini notes, Shane. I hope you are happy today as well. Next note. Oh, it's so colorful. 안녕하세요. 저는 화남초 3학년입니다. 유치원 때부터 알고 지낸 남자애가 있는데 계속 저를 괴롭혔어요. 하지마! 라고 한 다음부터 사이가 깨졌어요. 저는 그 애와 친하게 지내고 싶은데 어떡하죠? 아휴. So I'll translate this into Korean or into English. It says, hello, I am a third grader at Hwanam Elementary School. There's a friend that I have since I've known since preschool, but he's always been bothering me or irritating me, annoying me. I say, ever since I said, stop, he and I have been on bad terms. How can I become friends again with this person? So I think there's a different reason why your friend is annoying you. And being able to understand why they are doing that to you, I think is more important. By saying don't do it, they might have been scared or offended or blocked off, and they probably also didn't want that either. If they are annoying you in some sort of way, perhaps it's because they want your attention, or they're annoyed at something about you, or they're jealous of you, and being able to get down to the root cause of why they are irritating you, I think is really important, instead of just saying like, don't do it. And so I guess if you really want to become friends with this person and go back to them, reach out and be like, hey, I know that maybe when I said don't do it, I kind of hurt your feelings, but I do really want to be friends with you. But get down to the root of it. Like, but why do you annoy me? Or like, what is it? How can we be friends, and things like that. But also don't forget to protect yourself as well, because sometimes even if you want to be close with this person, they might, not like you, and it's not worth hurting yourself if they don't like you as well. And then also asking yourself, what do you get out of this relationship with your friend? Is it really worth it? Hope that helps. Quick water break. And then we'll read our last one. It's not really like a story, but I think it's just kind of like an inside thought that they had. So let me read this. First in Korean, and then I'll translate it into English. 과정이 행복했다면 결과가 어떤 건 행복한 거잖아요. 결말에 따라 과정에 부정되는 건 아니니까요. 그렇게 살면 좋을 것 같아요. 행복하지 않은지는 결국 스스로 정하는 거지 누가 정해주는 거는 아니잖아요. 지금의 행복에 감사하고 최대한 만끽하세요. I'll translate it once more before I delve deeper. And so they said, if you were happy during the process, then whatever the result, you were happy. Because even if the result is bad, that doesn't take away from the process itself. I think it would be nice to live that way. Whether you're happy or not is something that you decide on your own. It's not something that someone else decides for you. I hope everyone can be thankful for their current happiness and be as content as possible with their lives right now. So they basically are saying that the process is a lot more important than the actual happiness. Even if the result is bad, it doesn't take away from the fact that you were enjoying yourself in the process, and so you are happy. It does not take away from the fact that you have, enjoyed your life. And so they want to, I guess, focus back on being able to control your mind to allow yourself to be happy, because whatever you were working on, the process was enjoyable. So that was the little mini story jar for today. So that was actually really fun. We had one that was kind of just like what I expected people to write more here. Just like, hey, like I really like the cup of coffee. Thank you for that moment of happiness. And then a little kid who decided to write about, their little problem with their friends. And then one who shared their insight, and a very deep and very important one as well. Mind control is something that I have also been thinking about a lot recently. The idea that, like, going back to the very beginning of this podcast as well, where we were talking about how forced situations allow you to change your mindset, but sometimes the idea of confidence too is something that apparently people say one thought can change. One little moment can change the way you see yourself, the way you present yourself. And of course, over time, potentially that confidence may plummet, or maybe you don't even realize why your self-confidence is so low at a particular moment in time. But it is true that when you think about logically, if you write down all the stuff that you have done so far and not compare any of those experiences or moments with anyone else around you, you have accomplished enough to say that you are worthy enough. And even if you haven't accomplished anything grand, like getting a degree or getting like a certificate or getting like a trophy for anything or being the best in anything, you have worked hard in whatever aspect, and that guarantees you to be able to say, hey, I worked on this and I can feel proud of that, and no one is going to take that away from you. Of course, being able to improve yourself and increase your self-worth, increase your skill set is also important, but that also should come from not punishment, but for improvement, for something better. This is actually something that I have also been struggling with as well. I'm not gonna lie. I realized recently this term of defensive deflection, where if I don't feel like I'm gonna do well, or if I don't feel like I'm gonna feel belonged, if I don't feel that I am confidence in anything, then I kind of blow it off and I kind of say, oh, maybe I'm the bad one, or maybe I'm not needed. And that actually is a very, very easy way out of any situation at all, instead of trying to take responsibility for your actions and kind of improving yourself. And so this is a term that I learned while I was in the hospital as well, and something that maybe might be insightful for any of you guys who are also more of like this very anxious people who tend to find yourself kind of deflecting everyone around you and avoiding all of the good stuff that could happen to you, and kind of putting yourself in a bad position continuously, because we all are working in different universes together, and so your universe cannot be completely severed off of other people's universes. You can like close down and like become a dark little universe, but you can't cut off the ties. So I don't want to talk about how I am okay with the defensive detachment. I think it's just good to be able to put a logical term in your brain to be able to focus on like why you're acting that way, and that's kind of why we go to therapy, right? And being able to understand that my actions kind of were wrapped up in that particular term helps me better understand why I act that way and how I can improve myself. And so if you've ever tried to withdraw from the people around you from whatever situation to protect yourself as well, I hope that this narrative here can help you figure out that it's okay that you were doing that, but it's also can be hurtful for not only yourself, but for other people as well. But it's not something that you need to be shameful of. It's just something that you really need to care for as soon as possible. There was a drama that I know recently, S-Line. I don't know if you guys watched it, but I've just been seeing like the reels, and basically there's like a line that connects to another person if you have had any sexual interaction with them, and the only way to get rid of that is by killing the other person, or like killing one or the other person to get that severed off. So it kind of in an extreme sense works that way in terms of your relationships with others. No matter how little of a group of acquaintances or friends or family friends or whatever you have, you can't sever those relationships off completely, because even if you shut down, it's still tied, because once you make a connection with someone, that's not going to go away. You might as well make the most out of those kinds of relationships and understand that you are not alone in your world, and you have to take accountability for whatever actions you have and whatever thoughts you have, because your little tiny actions, good or bad, sad, emotionful, happy, joyful, depressed, whatever emotion you're feeling is going to somehow link to the other person if you let it out. I guess that kind of goes back to my previous video of counterintuitiveness, where if you feel like you can escape the world, or like whatever your feelings are won't affect other people because they're your feelings, that kind of seems like what is natural, but in reality, people actually will be affected by me. My reactions and my actions actually mean more. And maybe that can actually help to build your self-worth as well, because you mean more. That's why people say like you deserve everything, like no matter what people say, you can't put yourself down. And those are good terms, and I guess like the way that I'm expressing it is not necessarily like the happiest way to express it, but I do think it's the truth that you cannot avoid these connections, these lines that you have made with other people, so you might as well try to build something great out of it, and be happy with yourself as well. Don't take it too severely. Don't take it too heavily. It's a lot more easy to be able to listen and understand other people from the depths of their heart, as long as you try to ask questions. Like the third grader that I told is to just ask questions, because the reason why they might be irritating you and annoying you is because they probably have something within themselves that they feel uncomfortable with. And for the last two questions for today, I want to ask you guys, number one, have you been making yourself look stronger than you actually are? And if so, can you give you a moment of rest? And number two, if you have been acting a certain way and you don't like the way that you're acting, and people also around you are kind of falling away, then maybe ask yourself why you are acting that way and what you really, really want from yourself and from other people. Because sometimes that healing is not something that you look for in other people, it's what you have to find within yourself. So to wrap up, I want to say thank you guys so much. Look out for the newsletter. It is on my Instagram bio and it's going to be down in the description as well of this video. This newsletter is kind of where I want to bring us back to the center. It's not perfect at all. It's not going to be like well written at all, but I hope that it'll be just weird thoughts, it'll be chaotic moments, and I hope that any insight that you can gain out of it, I hope that I can provide you guys tips as well on what I've learned throughout my entrepreneurship journey. And of course, any of the things that I've been sharing, including like my multilingual journey as well, because I know a lot of people here follow me for the English content as well. So thank you guys so much again. I'll see you guys next week. 다음 주에 봐요.